Let me ask you something before we begin. When you stand up after sitting for a while, do your legs feel heavy, stiff, or slow to wake up? When you walk a little farther than usual, do your calves tire quickly, or do your feet feel cold even when the rest of you is warm? If you've noticed any of this creeping into your days, I want you to know two things. First, you are not imagining it. And second, this is the part almost no one tells you. It is very often not simply old age doing this to you. For most of my life, I've studied how the body carries blood, oxygen, and nutrients down to the very tips of our toes, and I've watched too many good people quietly surrender their strength because they believed tired, aching legs were just the price of getting older. So sit with me for a while, the way you'd sit with a friend who happens to understand the body, because what I'm about to share with you can genuinely change how your legs feel for years to come. Here is the truth that took me a long time to fully appreciate. The legs are the farthest outpost in your entire circulatory system. Your heart sits up high in your chest, and every single beat has to push blood all the way down against gravity, through narrowing roads of arteries, into the smallest vessels feeding your muscles, your nerves, and your skin, and then send it all the way back up again. That is an enormous job. And when that delivery system starts to falter, the legs are usually the first place you feel it, precisely because they are the last in line. So when someone tells me their legs feel heavy, or that they get a strange tingling or cramps at night, or that their feet are always cold, I don't think, well, that's just aging. I think about the rivers of blood that are supposed to be reaching those tissues, and I start asking whether they truly are. Because when blood does not arrive efficiently in the legs, the body sends out signals, tingling and numbness, as the nerves complain that they aren't getting what they need. A sensation of heaviness, as if your legs were filled with wet sand. Cramps that grip you out of nowhere, often in the quiet of the night. Difficulty walking as far as you used to, with muscles that burn and tire far too soon. Cold feet, even in a warm room. And that slow, frustrating recovery where a simple walk leaves your legs aching for far longer than seems fair. These are not random annoyances, they are a conversation. Your body is telling you that the supply lines need attention. And once you understand that, you stop feeling helpless, because supply lines can be repaired. Now here is where I want to gently correct a very common belief. Most people assume that improving circulation is only about exercise, that if you just walk more, everything will sort itself out. Movement matters enormously, and we'll come back to it. But circulation is not only about how much you move the blood, it's also about the health of the roads the blood travels on. It depends on the condition of your blood vessels themselves, and especially on the delicate inner lining of those vessels called the endothelium, a single living layer of cells that decides whether your vessels relax and open generously or stay tight and stingy. It depends on whether your cells can produce energy properly, because muscles that can't make energy can't work or recover, and it depends, far more than most people realize, on whether your body has the specific nutrients it needs to keep all of this machinery running. That last part is what I most want to open up for you today, because it's the part you have the most power to change starting this week. There are 4 vitamins in particular that play quiet but essential roles in the health of your blood vessels and the strength of your legs. I want to walk you through each one, not as a shopping list, but as a way of understanding your own body. Because once you see how each of these nutrients works inside you and what happens when it runs low, the whole picture of tired, heavy, weakening legs begins to make a very different kind of sense. Let me start with vitamin D, because so few people connect it to their legs at all. We tend to think of vitamin D as something for our bones, and yes, it matters for bones, but it does so much more. Vitamin D is deeply involved in the health of your muscles, in the proper functioning of your immune system, and in the behavior of your blood vessels. Your muscle cells actually carry receptors for vitamin D, little docking points that, when filled, help those muscles contract with strength and coordination. When your levels of this vitamin drift too low, which happens to a great many older adults, especially those who spend most of their time indoors or live in places with long gray winters. The consequences show up in exactly the way you'd fear: reduced muscle strength, poorer physical performance, a higher risk of unsteadiness and falls. I've seen people who were quietly losing their footing in life, blaming themselves for getting weak, when in reality their bodies were running low on a nutrient that helps the muscles do their job. Restoring it doesn't make you 20 again. Nothing does. But it removes a hidden brake that may have been holding your strength back for years. The second vitamin I want you to truly understand is vitamin B12. And this one speaks directly to that tingling, numb, unsteady feeling that frightens so many people. Vitamin B12 has two jobs that matter intensely for your legs. First, it is essential for the health of your nerves, for the protective insulation around them that lets signals travel cleanly from your brain all the way to your feet. Second, it is essential for forming healthy red blood cells, the tiny carriers that ferry oxygen through your bloodstream to every tissue you have. Think about what that means. If your nerves are starved of B12, the wiring to your legs starts to misfire. And that's where the pins and needles, the numbness, the loss of balance, and the strange weakness come from. And if you can't build enough healthy red blood cells, your blood carries less oxygen. So even with decent circulation, the cargo arriving in your legs is thin. B12 deficiency is one of the most underappreciated reasons older adults develop tingling feet, a wobbly sense of balance, and difficulty walking. And it becomes more common with age because our bodies absorb it less easily as the years pass. That's why this one deserves real attention rather than a shrug. The third vitamin is one you've surely heard of, but probably never imagined as a guardian of your blood vessels: vitamin C. We associate it with colds and immunity, but its role in circulation is profound. Vitamin C is essential for your body to produce collagen, and collagen is one of the main building materials in the walls of your blood vessels. Picture your arteries and veins as flexible tubing that must stay both strong and supple, able to hold pressure without cracking and to flex without tearing. That resilience depends on collagen, and collagen production depends on vitamin C. On top of that, vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant. Every day, the inner lining of your vessels, that precious endothelium I mentioned, is bombarded by what scientists call oxidative stress, a kind of slow, rusting damage from unstable molecules. Vitamin C helps neutralize that assault, protecting the lining so it can keep doing its job of letting your vessels open wide and carry blood freely. Healthy, well-built, well-protected vessels are simply better at delivering blood, and that is the whole game when it comes to your legs. And the fourth vitamin works hand in hand with the third, vitamin E. If vitamin C is one of your body's great water-based antioxidants, vitamin E is its great fat-based one. Your cells are wrapped in delicate membranes made largely of fats, and those membranes are exactly the kind of structure that oxidative damage loves to attack. Vitamin E embeds itself right into those membranes and stands guard, shielding them from being damaged. This matters for your cardiovascular system as a whole, because it helps protect your blood vessels from the inflammation and oxidative injury that, over many years, can stiffen and narrow them. A vessel that is protected from chronic low-grade damage stays healthier and more open longer, and an open vessel is a vessel that can keep your legs supplied. Vitamin C and E together are like a two-part defense, one watching the watery spaces and the other watching the fatty ones, both working to keep the roads your blood travels on smooth and clear. Now, I have to be completely honest with you, because the worst thing I could do is send you chasing a fantasy. No single vitamin is a miracle. None of these will, on its own, undo years of neglect or override everything else you do. The real magic, and it is real, happens when these nutrients work as part of a whole life that supports your circulation. A balanced diet rich in real colorful food, so these vitamins arrive naturally alongside everything else your body needs. Regular movement, even gentle daily walking, because motion is what pumps blood through your legs and keeps your vessels responsive, keeping your blood pressure in a healthy range so your vessels aren't being battered day after day. good restorative sleep when so much repair quietly takes place, and steady medical follow-up so nothing important goes unwatched. The vitamins are powerful threads, but they're woven into a larger fabric, and it's the whole fabric that holds your strength together. And this is the right moment to tell you something important, because once you understand that poor circulation and damaged vessels go hand in hand with high blood pressure and a higher risk of heart problems, the next step becomes obvious. So many people ask me how they can actually lower their blood pressure naturally and protect their heart while they're working on their circulation. Because that question matters so much, we've put together a complete guide and left it in the first link in the description. It goes deeper into exactly this: how to improve your blood pressure naturally and build habits that protect your heart and support healthier circulation throughout your body. Think of it not as something to buy, but as a companion to this very conversation, a way to keep learning once the video ends. Let me bring this back to your own body, to the signs you can actually notice in daily life. How do you know if low levels of these nutrients might be part of your story? Listen for the patterns. A fatigue that lingers and never quite lifts, even after rest. Legs that recover painfully slowly after an ordinary walk, aching long after they should have settled. A creeping loss of strength, where tasks that were once easy now ask more of you. Cramps that come frequently, especially at night. Hands and feet that stay cold when they shouldn't. And difficulty standing for very long without your legs protesting. Now, I want to be careful here. These signs don't prove a deficiency by themselves, because the body is complex and many things can cause them. But when several of them gather together and settle in, they are a strong invitation to look closer rather than to keep brushing them aside. And looking closer is exactly what I want to encourage, the right way. Please don't simply start swallowing high doses of supplements on a hunch. This is where a real medical evaluation matters. A conversation with your doctor and a simple set of laboratory tests can reveal whether you're genuinely low in vitamin D, in B12, or in anything else. And that knowledge changes everything, because it lets you correct what's actually wrong instead of guessing. It matters for another reason too. More is not always better. Some of these vitamins, taken in excess, can cause problems of their own, and a few can build up to harmful levels if you overdo them blindly. So the wise path is not fear, and it's not reckless self-dosing. It's testing, knowing, and then correcting with guidance. That is how you turn good intentions into real, safe results. So let me gather the whole picture for you in plain terms, the way I'd want a member of my own family to remember it. The 4 vitamins that most deserve your attention when it comes to the circulation and strength of your legs are vitamin D, vitamin B12, vitamin C, and vitamin E. Vitamin D supports the strength and function of your muscles. Vitamin B12 protects your nerves and helps build the red blood cells that carry oxygen. Vitamin C helps build and protect the very walls of your blood vessels through collagen and its antioxidant power. And vitamin E shields your cells and vessels from oxidative and inflammatory damage. 4 nutrients, 4 distinct roles: muscle, nerves, vessel structure, and vascular protection, all of them quietly working toward the same goal: blood that reaches your legs freely and keeps them strong. And if there's one idea I'd love you to carry away from our time together, it's this: caring for the circulation in your legs is never really about the legs alone. Legs that are well supplied with blood depend on a heart that pumps well and on vessels that are healthy, open, and protected. When you take care of your circulation, you are taking care of your whole body at once. Your heart, your brain, your energy, your independence, and the simple, precious ability to get up and move through your own life on your own 2 feet. Your legs are not asking for a miracle. They're asking for the things they were always meant to have. So before we say goodbye, let me remind you one more time, gently. If this conversation made sense to you, and you'd like to learn practical, real-world strategies to improve your blood pressure and strengthen the health of your heart, because that is the engine behind every bit of circulation we've talked about, remember that we've left a complete guide in the first link in the description for anyone who wants to go deeper into exactly this. It's there waiting for you whenever you're ready. And finally, from my heart to yours, if this gave you something worth holding on to, something that made you see your own body with a little more understanding and a little more hope, I'd be truly grateful if you would subscribe to the channel. I'm continuing this journey one honest conversation at a time, and there is so much more I want to share with you about staying strong, mobile, and independent through the years ahead. So subscribe, stay close, and I'll be right here for you. I'll see you in the next one.